Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something important. Have you ever gone to bed tired, not because you worked hard, but because you worried all day? You were busy, but not productive. Active, but not progressing. You had energy, but nothing meaningful to show for it. And somewhere in your mind, a quiet voice said, maybe I'm just lazy. But what if I told you something different? What if I told you that you are not lazy, you are undirected? You wake up every morning with potential in your body and ideas in your head. Your heart wants more, your mind dreams of better, and your soul knows you're capable of bigger things. Yet by evening, life feels heavy, not because you lack strength, but because your strength has no clear destination. It's like starting a powerful car with a full tank of fuel and driving in circles. The engine works, the fuel burns, but you never actually go anywhere. Most people don't fail because they are weak. They fail because they are confused. They don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack direction. They try a little of everything and master nothing. They chase comfort instead of clarity. They wait for motivation instead of building discipline. And slowly, day by day, their energy leaks into distractions, excuses, and delay. Think about your own life for a moment. How many plans have you started and never finished? How many dreams are still living only in your head? How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow quietly became next month, then next year? That's not laziness. That's undirected power. In this speech, you're going to learn something most people never do. How to aim your energy instead of wasting it. You're going to discover why motivation comes after clarity, not before it. Why discipline grows when purpose is strong. And why successful people don't have more time or talent. They simply have better direction. If you stay with me until the end, you won't just feel inspired. You'll understand how to think differently, act deliberately, and build momentum in your life. You'll learn how to replace confusion with clarity, hesitation with confidence, and waiting with action. This is not about hype. This is about control. Control over your habits. Control over your decisions, control over the story you are writing with your life. Because once you learn how to direct your mind, your energy, and your purpose, something powerful happens. You stop drifting, you stop doubting, you stop surviving, and you start becoming intentional. So listen carefully, not just with your ears, but with your future in mind. Because the person you are about to become depends on the way you choose to direct yourself starting today. You're not lazy, you're undirected. And today that changes. Ladies and gentlemen, everything powerful in this world is built, not found. Bridges are built. Businesses are built. And so is purpose. Most people are waiting to discover their purpose like it's hidden somewhere in the universe. They think one day they'll wake up and suddenly know exactly what they're meant to do. But life doesn't work that way. Purpose is not something you stumble upon. It is something you engineer deliberately. Think about it. When you buy a house, you don't just start stacking bricks randomly. You first draw a blueprint. You decide how many rooms, where the doors go, where the foundation must be strong. Without a blueprint, the house collapses. Your life works the same way. Without a clear purpose, your energy collapses into confusion. You stay busy but not effective. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine two students entering university. Both are intelligent. Both have time. Both have opportunity. One student attends classes without direction. They choose random subjects, skip some days, scroll through social media, and just try to get through the years. The second student asks a deeper question. Who do I want to become? They choose subjects aligned with their future, build skills intentionally, network, and practice discipline daily. After 4 years, the difference is dramatic. Same campus, same teachers, same time, different purpose, different result. Purpose engineering begins with asking better questions. Not what is easy, but what is meaningful. Not what feels good now, but what will matter later. Your answers create direction for your energy. If you never ask those questions, life will answer them for you, and you may not like the outcome. Another example, think about someone working a job they hate. Every morning feels heavy. Every task feels exhausting. Not because the work is hard, but because the work has no personal meaning. But when someone connects their daily actions to a larger purpose, maybe providing for family, building skills, or preparing for a dream business, the same job becomes training, not torture. Purpose transforms pressure into progress. Purpose is also what turns discipline from punishment into power. With purpose, waking up early feels necessary. Without purpose, learning feels boring. With purpose, learning feels valuable. Without purpose, sacrifice feels unfair. With purpose, sacrifice feels strategic. Let's talk about engineering it practically. First, define your destination. Where do you want your life to go in 5 years? Not just money, but identity. Who are you becoming? Confident, skilled, independent, useful. Your destination becomes the target for your energy. Second, identify your assets. What skills do you have? What experiences shaped you? What problems can you solve? Many people overlook what they already possess. Purpose grows when you combine what you care about with what you're capable of learning and improving. Third, create daily alignment. Purpose is useless if it stays in your head. It must enter your schedule. What you do every morning, afternoon, and night should slowly pull you toward your destination. Reading, practicing, exercising, studying, building small actions aligned with purpose compound into massive change. Let me give you a powerful real-life pattern. Think of an athlete preparing for competition. They don't wake up guessing what to do. Their training, meals, rest, and mindset all align with one goal: performance. That alignment makes them sharp. Your life needs the same system. Purpose without alignment becomes a wish. Purpose with alignment becomes a strategy. Many people say, I don't know my purpose. That's usually not true. What they mean is, because commitment closes doors. When you choose a direction, you stop wandering. And wandering feels safe, but it's expensive. It costs you time, confidence, and momentum. Purpose engineering requires courage. Courage to focus. Courage to say no to distractions that feel good but lead nowhere. When you build purpose, you build standards. You stop asking, is this fun? And start asking, is this useful? Another real-world example: imagine someone who wants financial freedom. Without purpose, they spend first and save later, which usually means never. With purpose, money becomes a tool. They budget, invest, learn skills, and delay gratification. Their purpose controls their impulses. Purpose also protects you from burnout. People burn out not from working too hard, but from working without meaning. When your actions serve a bigger vision, energy multiplies instead of drains. You feel tired but fulfilled, not exhausted and empty. So here's your challenge: stop waiting for motivation. Motivation follows direction. Start engineering your purpose. Write it, speak it, schedule it, defend it. Let your daily behavior prove what you believe about your future. Ladies and gentlemen, when your life has no purpose, every road feels heavy. But when your life has direction, even hard roads feel worthwhile. Purpose turns movement into progress, effort into achievement, and dreams into decisions. You're not lazy. You're powerful, but only when your power has a target. And once you engineer that target, your life stops drifting and starts advancing with intention. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest myths in personal growth is this: people think discipline comes first and clarity comes later. They believe they must somehow force themselves to work harder, wake up earlier, focus longer, and push through life with willpower alone. But that approach rarely lasts. Willpower fades, motivation disappears. Energy drops. The real secret is different. Clarity creates discipline. When you clearly understand what you are doing and why you are doing it, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like direction. You don't have to fight yourself every day. Your mind already knows where it's going. Think about a simple situation. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night because of a fire alarm in your house. Suddenly you're alert. You move fast. You don't need motivation. You don't need reminders. You don't think, should I get up? You act immediately because your mind is clear, danger is present, and action is necessary. That clarity creates instant discipline. Now compare that to waking up for a normal workday when you don't understand the purpose of your work. The alarm rings, you hesitate, you snooze, you delay. Not because you're lazy, but because your mind is unclear about why the action matters. Confusion weakens discipline. Clarity strengthens it. Let me give you a real-world example. Think about someone who decides they want to get in shape. If the goal is vague, I want to be healthier someday, discipline will be weak. They'll skip workouts, they'll eat poorly. But when clarity appears, I want energy, confidence, and control over my body in the next 6 months. Behavior changes. They wake up with intention. They train with purpose. They say no to temptation because their mind knows what's at stake. Clarity is knowing your priorities before life tests them. Without clarity, everything feels important, so nothing really is. Your phone, your friends, your entertainment, your work, your goals, they all compete for attention. But when clarity enters your life, you begin to rank things. You stop reacting and start choosing. Think of clarity like a lens. Without it, life looks blurry. You hesitate, second guess, and drift. With it, you see sharply. You know what deserves your time and what deserves your refusal. That is where discipline becomes natural. You're no longer forcing behavior, you're aligning it. Another example is finances. Many people say, I want to save money, but their spending never changes. Why? No clarity. But someone who clearly defines, I want financial freedom, peace, and options, begins to behave differently. They track expenses, they invest, they avoid impulsive purchases. Discipline appears automatically because the mind understands the destination. Clarity also removes emotional chaos. When people are unclear, they get overwhelmed. They start too many things and finish none. They feel busy but empty. Clear people feel calm even when they're working hard because they know why each task exists. Consider a pilot flying an airplane. They don't just take off and hope for the best. They have coordinates, altitude, fuel plans, and destination. That clarity prevents panic and turbulence. Life works the same way. When challenges come, and they always do, clarity keeps you disciplined instead of emotional. One of the biggest enemies of discipline is decision fatigue. When you wake up without a plan, you must decide everything: what to do, when to work, what to ignore, what to eat, what to focus on. By the end of the day, your brain is exhausted, discipline collapses, but clarity reduces decisions. It tells you in advance what matters. That's why routines work. They are clarity in action. Clarity also strengthens your self-respect. When you know your direction, you stop negotiating with weakness. You don't say, maybe later. You say, this is who I am becoming. Identity replaces excuses. Let me give you a powerful mental shift. Discipline is not something you add to your life. Discipline is something that emerges when confusion leaves. When you're unclear, you scroll. When you're clear, you build. When you're unclear, you wait. When you're clear, you move. So how do you build clarity? First, write what matters. Goals that stay in your head remain emotional. Goals on paper become logical. Second, simplify. Too many goals destroy discipline. Choose a few meaningful ones and commit. Third, connect your daily actions to long-term outcomes. Ask, if I repeat today for 1 year, where will I end up? That question alone creates powerful clarity. Fourth, review daily. Every night ask, did my actions match my direction? Clarity grows through reflection. Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is not a personality trait. It is a byproduct of knowing where you are going and why it matters. When clarity enters your life, procrastination fades, focus strengthens, and consistency becomes natural. You don't need more motivation. You need more direction. Because once your mind sees the destination clearly, your behavior will automatically start walking toward it. Clarity doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you become. And when your thinking becomes clear, your life becomes disciplined. Ladies and gentlemen, once you have purpose and clarity, the next step is vision. Purpose tells you why you move. Clarity tells you what matters. But vision tells you where you are going. Without vision, people don't live. They drift. They react instead of create. They survive instead of design. Vision is not fantasy. Vision is structured imagination. It is the ability to see your future before it arrives and then organize your behavior around it. Most people let life design them. They take whatever job appears, accept whatever habits grow, and become whoever circumstances push them to be. Vision flips that process. You decide first, and then you build. Let me show you the difference with a simple example. Two people start working at the same company on the same day, same salary, same hours. One person just wants a paycheck. Their thinking is short-term, finish work, go home, relax, repeat. The second person has vision, skills they want to master, influence they want to build, leadership they want to earn. Over time, one remains replaceable, the other becomes valuable, not because of luck, but because of vision gives meaning to routine. Without vision, waking up early feels painful. With vision, waking up early feels strategic. Without vision, learning feels boring. Without vision, sacrifice feels unfair. With vision, sacrifice feels temporary. Most people say, I'll focus when life gets better. Vision says, life gets better when I focus. Another real-world example, think about someone who wants financial independence. Without vision, money comes and goes emotionally. They spend first and regret later. With vision, money becomes a tool. They invest, budget, learn skills, and delay pleasure for long-term power. Their future is planned, not hoped for. Vision also protects you from distraction. When you don't know where you're going, every road looks interesting. Social media, gossip, comfort, shortcuts, they all pull your attention. But when your vision is clear, distractions become obvious. You start asking, does this move me closer or farther? Vision becomes your filter. Consider athletes preparing for competition. They visualize the performance before stepping on the field. Their training, diet, rest, and mindset are shaped by a future event they haven't reached yet. Your life needs the same structure. You train today for the person you will be tomorrow. Vision also builds emotional stability. People without vision panic during setbacks. People with vision adjust. If something fails, they don't collapse, they recalibrate. Because vision is bigger than a single mistake. It gives perspective. This didn't work, but the journey continues. Now let's talk about how to design your personal vision practically. First, define identity, not just income. Don't only ask, what do I want to have? Ask, who do I want to become? Skilled, confident, independent, disciplined. Your identity determines your actions more than your wishes. Second, imagine your average day 5 years from now. Where do you wake up? What do you work on? Who surrounds you? How do you feel? Vision becomes powerful when it is specific. Third, connect vision to habits. A vision without habits is entertainment. A vision with habits becomes construction. What you read, watch, practice, and repeat daily slowly builds the future you imagined. Fourth, protect your vision. Everyone will have opinions. Not everyone will understand. Vision requires privacy in the beginning, not because others are bad, but because weak environments kill strong ideas. Here's something important. Many people confuse vision with motivation. Motivation is emotion. Vision is strategic. Motivation comes and goes. Vision stays and guides. You don't wake up every day feeling inspired, but vision tells you what to do even when feelings disappear. Think about a pilot again. They don't fly by mood. They fly by coordinates. Vision is your coordinate system. Another example, someone learning a new skill like coding, speaking, or business. Without vision, they quit when it gets difficult. With vision, difficulty becomes part of the journey. They understand discomfort is not danger. It is development. Vision also turns time into leverage. When you don't plan the future controls you. But when you design it, time starts working for you. Each year builds on the previous one. So here's your challenge. Stop asking, what should I do today? And start asking, what future am I building today? That single question transforms ordinary days into meaningful steps. Ladies and gentlemen, vision is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. It replaces reaction with intention, confusion with structure, and movement with meaning. You're not lazy, you're undirected. And vision is what gives your energy a destination. When you design your future before it arrives, you stop wandering and start becoming deliberate about your life. Ladies and gentlemen, most people think discipline is punishment. They hear the word and imagine restriction, pain, boring routines, and forced effort. But in reality, discipline is not a cage. Discipline is a key. It doesn't take freedom away from your life. It creates freedom inside your life. Undirected people look for comfort first. Directed people look for control first. And control always comes before confidence. Let's talk about a common mistake. People wait to feel ready, act. They wait for motivation, energy, mood, inspiration. But discipline works the opposite way. You don't wait for energy. You move first and energy follows. Think about the gym. No one walks in excited every day, but the person who shows up consistently starts feeling strong. Their body changes. Their confidence rises. Their discipline creates freedom of movement, health, and self-respect. Now compare that to someone without discipline. They sleep, whenever, eat anything, scroll endlessly, and postpone effort. At first, it feels free, no rules, no pressure. But over time, that freedom becomes fragile. Health drops, focus disappears, opportunities fade, comfort slowly turns into limitation. That's the paradox. Comfort first creates restriction later. The discipline first creates freedom later. Look at successful entrepreneurs. They don't have freedom because they avoided work. They have freedom because they controlled themselves before life forced control on them. They wake up early, learn constantly, protect their time, and execute even when it's uncomfortable. Discipline is choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. Let me give you a real example. Imagine two students. One studies only before exams. The other studies a little every day. On paper, both are busy. But the second student is calm during exams. They don't panic. They don't cram. Their discipline gave them freedom from stress. Discipline is also emotional. It's not just about what you do, but what you tolerate. Do you tolerate distraction, drama, excuses, weak habits, or do you train your mind to stay steady when things get hard? Undirected people negotiate with their feelings. Directed people command their habits. Another example, someone building a business online. Without discipline, they post randomly, learn inconsistently, quit when results are slow. With discipline, they treat small actions like appointments with their future. Content creation, learning, testing, done daily even when no one is watching. Discipline also builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-image rises. Every time you break one, it falls. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you earn through repeated discipline. Now, let's break discipline into practical areas. First, time discipline. Your life quality is determined by how you use your hours. Scrolling, gossiping, complaining, delaying, these steal future potential. Time discipline means planning your day, protecting focus, and removing low-value activities. Second, thought discipline. Not every thought deserves attention. Some thoughts are noise. Some are fear. Some are laziness wearing logic. Discipline means choosing empowering thoughts over emotional reactions. Third, habit discipline. Success is not built in big moments. It's built in boring repetition. Reading, practicing, saving, training, small daily discipline compounds into massive results. Fourth, environment discipline. If your environment supports laziness, discipline becomes difficult. Change your surroundings, people, apps, routines, schedules. Design your life so discipline becomes easier. Let me say something powerful. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Discipline is building systems that guide you when motivation disappears. People often ask, how do I become disciplined? The answer is simple but uncomfortable. Start small and stay consistent. Discipline grows through proof, not promises. 5 focus minutes today builds confidence for 10 tomorrow. Discipline also reduces anxiety. Most stress comes from things you keep postponing. The moment you start doing what you avoid, pressure fades. Action is therapy for the undirected mind. Here's another example. Someone afraid of public speaking. Without discipline, they avoid opportunities. Fear grows. With discipline, they practice daily, record themselves, speak in small groups. Over time, fear loses power. Discipline creates emotional freedom. So remember this. Discipline is not something you force forever. It's something you use temporarily to build a lifestyle that eventually feels natural. You discipline your mornings so your nights feel peaceful. You discipline your finances so your future feels secure. You discipline your skills so your opportunities feel unlimited. Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is not about being harsh. It's about being honest with your potential. You're not lazy. You're undirected. And discipline is what turns direction into daily action and daily action into lifelong freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the noisiest generation in history. Never before has your attention been attacked so aggressively. Notifications, messages, videos, trends, opinions, comparisons, everything is fighting for your mind. And here's the truth, if you don't control your focus, something else will. Undirected people lose energy not because they lack ability, but because their attention is scattered. They start 10 things and finish none. They feel busy, but they're not progressing. Focus is what turns movement into momentum. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine sunlight spread out, it just warms the ground. But focus through a lens, it can start a fire. Your mind works the same way. Scattered effort creates fatigue. Focused effort creates power. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone. They give the best part of their brain to other people's priorities. News, drama, entertainment, comparison, before they've invested one thought in their own future. Focus begins with ownership of your attention. Think about someone learning a high-income skill, writing, speaking, coding, editing, business. Without focus, they jump between tutorials, apps, courses, and trends. They feel productive but stay average. With focus, they choose one direction and go deep. They practice instead of browse. Focus also reduces overwhelm. People say, I have too much to do. No, you have too much competing for attention. When you choose one priority at a time, pressure fades and performance rises. Let me give you a real-world situation. A student preparing for exams while scrolling social media every 5 minutes. Their brain never enters deep work. They feel tired without doing real work. Compare that to a student who studies for 45 minutes without interruption. Same time, different outcome. Focus multiplies intelligence. Focus is not talent. It is trained. Undirected people wait for perfect conditions. Directed people create protected time. They turn off notifications. They organize tasks. They separate work from entertainment. They understand that distraction is expensive. Another example, someone building a YouTube channel or online business. Without focus, they watch other creators more than creating. With focus, they produce, test, learn, and improve daily. Progress belongs to producers, not consumers. Focus also builds emotional strength. When you constantly switch attention, your mind becomes impatient. You lose tolerance for boredom and struggle. But success requires sitting with discomfort while learning, fixing, and improving. Focus trains patience. Now, how do you master focus practically? First, decide your main objective. Each season of life needs one dominant priority, not 10. One, ask what skill, project, or goal deserves most of my attention right now. Second, design distraction barriers. Remove apps, mute notifications, limit entertainment time. Don't rely on willpower, rely on structure. Third, schedule deep work. Choose blocks of time for focused effort. Even 1 hour of pure focus beats 5 hours of interruption. Fourth, practice finishing. Many people start fast but quit early. Focus grows when you complete things, even small ones. Completion trains confidence. Fifth, protect your mornings. Your brain is sharpest early. Don't give it away to noise. Give it to creation. Let me share something important. Motivation comes and goes, but focus builds identity. When you see yourself as someone who concentrates, executes, and finishes, your life begins to align around that belief. Another real example, someone learning public speaking. Without focus, they watch speeches and dream. With focus, they write daily, record themselves, analyze mistakes, and improve one step at a time. Focus also helps you say no. Not every opportunity is yours. Not every invitation deserves your energy. Focus is choosing depth over popularity. Here's a powerful idea. Your future is built in quiet rooms, not noisy crowds. The people who change their lives are not the busiest. They are the most intentional. They choose fewer actions and perform them with excellence. So tonight, instead of asking, how can I do more? Ask, ladies and gentlemen, undirected energy fades. Directed focus multiplies. You're not lazy, you're undirected. And focus is what turns your effort into impact, your attention into advantage, and your daily actions into lasting success. Ladies and gentlemen, every great change in life begins with a quiet but powerful decision. The decision to become someone different than you are today, not someday, not when things are easy, not when motivation is high, but now, right where you are with what you have. Most people try to change their situation first. They say, if I get more money, I'll work harder. If I get a better job, I'll focus. If people respect me, I'll improve. But life doesn't work that way. You change first and life responds later. Undirected people wait for permission. Directed people give themselves responsibility. They stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I become? Let's look at a real-world example. Imagine someone who wants success but avoids discomfort. They want confidence but avoid practice. They want freedom but avoid discipline. Every desire without action creates frustration. But the moment they start becoming disciplined, skilled, focused, and intentional, their environment slowly shifts. People trust them. Opportunities follow them. Their results improve. Becoming is more powerful than wishing. Your future does not need a lucky version of you. It needs a trained version of you. Think about learning any valuable skill, leadership, business, speaking, coding, investing, fitness, communication. At first, you feel awkward, slow, unqualified. That's not failure. That's transformation in progress. Every expert was once uncomfortable. Undirected people escape discomfort. Directed people enter it deliberately. Another example, someone afraid to start a business. They wait until they feel confident. But confidence comes from doing, not thinking. They start small, fail fast, learn daily, and over time they become someone capable of handling bigger challenges. Becoming also means upgrading your standards. What you tolerate defines your future. Late nights without purpose, low effort, negative talk, weak environments, these quietly shape identity. But when you raise your standards, how you speak, work, learn, and treat time, your life upgrades automatically. Your habits are votes for the person you are becoming. Every time you wake up early, you vote for discipline. Every time you study, you vote for competence. Every time you act despite fear, you vote for courage. You don't transform in one dramatic moment. You transform through small daily decisions repeated consistently. Let's talk about responsibility. Not blame. Responsibility, blame keeps you emotional. Responsibility keeps you powerful. When you say, this is my life, my choices, my direction, you take control back from excuses, people, and circumstances. Directed people say, that's how life is, and here's what I'll do about it. Becoming also requires patience. Growth is slow. Skills compound. Reputation builds. Results mature. Most people quit because progress is invisible before it becomes impressive. But remember, the bamboo tree grows underground for years before it rises suddenly. Your work is building roots before results appear. Another example, someone improving their communication. At first, no one notices, but daily practice, speaking clearly, listening better, writing smarter, eventually transforms their influence. People begin to respect and follow them. Becoming also means leaving old versions behind. Not every habit, routine, relationship, or mindset deserves to come with you. Growth requires subtraction as much as addition. Ask yourself, who must I stop being to become who I want? Your future self is already watching your daily choices. Are you training them or betraying them? Here's something powerful. Success is not owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. You don't arrive and relax, you become and maintain. That's why direction matters more than speed. Even slow steps in the right direction outperform fast movement in the wrong one. So don't panic about where you are. Get serious about where you're going. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not behind directed. And the moment you choose to become intentional about your identity, your habits, your focus, and your responsibility, your life begins to reorganize around that decision. You don't need a new year. You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. You need direction. And when direction meets discipline, focus, vision, and purpose, you stop wishing for a better life and start becoming the person capable of living it.